Las Vegas, Nevada. International Hotel. July 31st, 1969. Thursday evening, 7:45 p.m. The newly constructed International Hotel towers over the Las Vegas Strip like a monument to ambition and excess. At 30 stories tall, it is the tallest building in Nevada, its glass and steel facade reflecting the neon lights that have made this desert city the entertainment capital of the world. Inside its showroom, 2,000 red velvet seats await the most important performance in Las Vegas history, though nobody knows it yet. Tonight, the International Hotel will either validate the biggest financial gamble in entertainment history or witness the most expensive failure ever staged on the Strip. In his executive office on the 29th floor, Alex Shoofey stares down at the Strip through floor-to-ceiling windows, watching tourists flow between casinos like blood through arteries. At 52, Shoofey is a veteran of the Las Vegas entertainment business, a man who has built his fortune by understanding exactly what works in this unique ecosystem of gambling, alcohol, and carefully orchestrated fantasy. Shoofey knows that Las Vegas audiences are different from anywhere else in the world. They come here to escape reality, to feel sophisticated, to believe they are part of something exclusive and glamorous. They want Frank Sinatra's smooth sophistication, Dean Martin's casual cool, Sammy Davis Jr. his explosive energy. They want performers who understand that Vegas is not about rebellion or youth culture. Vegas is about class, elegance, and the illusion that money can buy happiness. What they do not want, Shoofey believes, is rock and roll. Rock and roll is for teenagers. Rock and roll is for suburban kids who buy records and scream at concerts. Rock and roll is the opposite of everything. Las Vegas represents, it is raw where Vegas is polished, dangerous where Vegas is safe, youthful where Vegas is mature. And tonight in 15 minutes, Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, will take the stage of the International Hotel's showroom for the first time in 8 years. "This is insane," Shoofey mutters to himself, the same words he has been repeating for months as this nightmare booking has approached. An old rocker in Vegas. What were we thinking? The decision to book Elvis was not Shoofey's. It came from Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis's manager, who approached the International with a proposal that seemed designed to embarrass everyone involved. Elvis would perform 2 shows a night for 4 weeks straight, 56 performances total, for the largest fee ever paid to an entertainer in Las Vegas history. The contract guaranteed Elvis $400,000 plus 60% of gross ticket sales, enough money to fund a small movie or buy a mansion in Beverly Hills. But money was not the real gamble. The real gamble was reputation. If Elvis Presley failed in Las Vegas, if audiences rejected him, if critics savaged him, the International Hotel would be associated forever with one of entertainment history's greatest disasters. Shoofey picks up the internal phone that connects him directly to the showroom floor. "Jimmy, how are we looking down there?" Jimmy Newman, the hotel's entertainment director, sounds nervous through the speaker. "Sold out, Mr. Shoofey. Every seat. We've got a waiting list of 500 people hoping for cancellations." This should be good news, but it only increases Shoofey's anxiety. A sold-out showroom means 2,000 people who have paid premium prices to see Elvis Presley return to live performance. If he disappoints them, if he proves that his 8-year absence from the stage has left him unable to connect with audiences, those 2,000 people will become 2,000 witnesses to his failure. What about the press? Rolling Stone is here. Los Angeles Times, New York Times, Variety, Billboard, every major music and entertainment publication in the country, plus television crews from 3 networks. Shoofey closes his eyes. The entire entertainment industry is watching. If Elvis succeeds, the International Hotel will be credited with resurrecting the career of the most famous performer in the world. If he fails, they will be blamed for delivering the final blow to a fading legend. Mr. Shoofey, Jimmy continues, there's something else you should know about the audience. What about it? It's not what we expected. I mean, yes, we've got the usual Vegas crowd, high rollers, celebrities, industry people, but we've also got teenagers, kids who drove here from Los Angeles, from Phoenix, from Denver. They're camping outside the hotel hoping to get in. Some of them have been here for 3 days. Shoofey opens his eyes, stares at his reflection in the darkened window. Teenagers in Las Vegas is like fish on land. It doesn't make sense. Teenagers don't have the money for Vegas entertainment. They don't understand Vegas sophistication. They represent everything that Vegas has spent decades learning to avoid. But they are here for Elvis Presley, and suddenly Shoofey understands something that has been troubling him for months. Elvis is not just a Vegas entertainer. He is not Frank Sinatra or Dean Martin or any of the smooth professionals who have learned to work within the Vegas system. Elvis Presley is something else entirely, something that might not fit the Vegas mold, but might not need to. A knock at his office door interrupts his thoughts. Come in. Colonel Tom Parker enters wearing his signature white suit and string tie, his round face beaming with the confidence of a man who has never doubted tonight's outcome. At 60, Parker is a master promoter who has built his fortune by understanding public appetite better than the public understands itself. Alex, my boy, Parker says, extending his hand with the enthusiasm of a politician at a campaign rally. Are you ready for the show of the century? Shoofey shakes Parker's hand reluctantly. Colonel, I have to ask you one more time. Are you sure about this? It's not too late to postpone, to rethink the concept. Parker laughs, a sound like dice rattling in a cup. My boy, do you know what Elvis Presley did last night? What? He rehearsed for 6 hours. 6 hours. The boy is 34 years old. He's been performing for 15 years. He's sold more records than anyone in history, and he rehearsed for 6 hours because he wants tonight to be perfect. Parker walks to the window, looks down at the crowds gathering outside the hotel. Alex, you're thinking like a Vegas businessman. You're worried about demographics and market research, and whether Elvis fits your idea of what Vegas entertainment should be. But you're forgetting something important. Elvis doesn't fit into categories. Elvis creates categories. Colonel, I've been in this business for 20 years. I know what works in Vegas and what doesn't. Rock and roll doesn't work in Vegas. Parker turns back to face Shoofey, and his expression becomes serious for the first time since entering the office. Alex, there is no such thing as rock and roll doesn't work in Vegas because nobody has ever tried it before. You're not booking a rock and roll show tonight. You're booking Elvis Presley, and Elvis Presley works everywhere. 3 floors below, in dressing room A1, Elvis Presley stands in front of a full-length mirror, adjusting the collar of the most important outfit of his career. It is not the black leather that made him famous in the 1968 television special. It is not the casual clothes of his movie star years. Tonight, Elvis wears a white jumpsuit designed specifically for Las Vegas, elegant enough to satisfy the sophisticated audience, but unique enough to remind them that they are seeing something unprecedented. At 34, Elvis is no longer the skinny teenager who revolutionized American music in the 1950s. He is a man in his physical prime, 6 feet tall and 170 pounds of focused energy. His black hair is styled in the pompadour that has become his trademark, but it is shorter now, more controlled, more appropriate for the mature performer he has become. But underneath the confident exterior, Elvis is terrified. 8 years. It has been 8 years since he performed in front of a live audience. 8 years since he felt the immediate connection between performer and crowd that is the lifeblood of every great entertainer. In those 8 years, he has made 22 movies, recorded dozens of songs, earned millions of dollars, but he has not done the one thing that made him want to be a performer in the first place. He has not stood on a stage and made strangers feel something powerful. Elvis? Red West, his longtime friend and bodyguard, appears in the doorway. 15 minutes. Elvis nods, but doesn't turn away from the mirror. In the reflection, he can see the man he has become and the ghost of the man he used to be. The question that has haunted him for months remains unanswered. Does the magic still exist? Red, do you think they'll remember? Remember what, Elvis? Remember why they loved me in the first place. Remember what it felt like when we were young and dangerous, and everything seemed possible. Red walks over, stands beside Elvis, so both men are reflected in the mirror. Elvis, they're not here for nostalgia. They're here because you're Elvis Presley. Not because you were Elvis Presley, because you are Elvis Presley. Elvis takes a deep breath, and when he exhales, some of the tension leaves his shoulders. You know what the funny thing is? I'm not nervous about the music. I know I can still sing. I'm not nervous about the performance. I know I can still move an audience. I'm nervous about whether I still want to. What do you mean? I mean, for 8 years I've been safe. Movies, recording studios, Graceland, safe environments where I control everything, where nothing unexpected can happen. Tonight, I go back to the one place where anything can happen, where the audience decides whether I succeed or fail, where I remember what it's like to need people to love me. Through the walls of the dressing room, they can hear the muffled sound of the opening act finishing their set. In a few minutes, Elvis will walk onto the stage of the International Hotel and either reclaim his crown as the king of rock and roll, or discover that kingdoms can be lost as quickly as they are won. Elvis, Red says quietly, do you remember what you told me the first time we played the Grand Ole Opry? Elvis smiles slightly. I said I was going to show them something they'd never seen before. That's right. And tonight? Elvis turns away from the mirror, and when he looks at Red, his eyes carry the same fire that made him famous 20 years ago. Tonight I'm going to show them something they've never seen before. Showroom. International Hotel. 8 p.m. exactly. The lights dim and 2,000 people fall silent with the precision of a symphony orchestra following a conductor's baton. The silence is so complete that the air conditioning system becomes audible, a soft hum that seems to vibrate through the red velvet seats and crystal chandeliers. In the darkness, a single spotlight illuminates the center of the stage, creating a circle of white light against black velvet curtains. For 10 seconds, nothing happens. The spotlight waits, empty, patient, building anticipation with the simple power of expectation. Then, from the wings, Elvis Presley walks into the light. He moves with the confident stride of a man who owns every room he enters, but there is something different about him tonight, something that separates this entrance from the thousands of entrances he has made in movies and television shows. Tonight he is not playing a character or fulfilling a contract or satisfying a studio executive's vision. Tonight he is simply Elvis Presley, standing on a stage, ready to prove that he still deserves the title of king. He approaches the microphone without speaking, lets the audience absorb his presence, lets them adjust to the reality that Elvis Presley is 6 feet in front of them, live in person, for the first time in 8 years. Some of them have waited a decade for this moment. Some of them have traveled across the country, All of them are about to discover why Elvis Presley became the most famous performer on earth. "Good evening," Elvis says, and his voice carries perfectly through the showroom's acoustic system, intimate enough to feel personal, but powerful enough to reach the last row. "It's good to see you again." The applause begins slowly, politely, the kind of sophisticated appreciation that Las Vegas audiences are famous for. But something unexpected happens. As Elvis smiles, as he adjusts the microphone stand with the casual confidence of a master craftsman preparing his tools, the applause grows louder and louder. And then, from somewhere in the back of the room, someone screams. Not the polite exclamation of a satisfied customer, but the raw, emotional scream of a fan who has been waiting 8 years to see their idol return to where he belongs. The scream triggers something primal in the room, and suddenly 2,000 sophisticated Las Vegas audience members are on their feet, applauding and screaming like teenagers at a rock concert. Elvis raises his hand, and the room falls silent immediately. This is not the silence of confusion or uncertainty. This is the silence of total attention, of 2,000 people who understand they are about to witness something special. "I'd like to start with a song that means something to me," Elvis says. "A song about coming home." The band begins the opening notes of "That's All Right," the song that started it all 15 years ago at Sun Records in Memphis. But this is not the version that made Elvis famous. This is the version of a mature artist who understands what the song means, who can sing it with the weight of experience and the wisdom of someone who has traveled the entire journey from unknown to famous, to forgotten to relevant again. As Elvis sings, something magical happens in the showroom of the International Hotel. The sophisticated Vegas audience, the teenagers who drove in from across the country, the industry executives and newspaper critics and television producers all become part of the same experience. For 4 minutes, Elvis Presley erases every boundary, age, sophistication, expectation, skepticism, and reminds 2,000 people why music exists in the first place. When the song ends, the applause is deafening, but more importantly, it is genuine. These are not people applauding because they are supposed to. These are people applauding because they have just experienced something that reminds them what entertainment can be when it is done by someone who understands that the relationship between performer and audience is sacred. In his office, 29 floors above the showroom, Alex Shoofey watches a closed-circuit television monitor that shows the stage from the balcony perspective. He has been in the entertainment business for 20 years, has seen every major performer of his generation, has developed an instinct for recognizing when something special is happening. What he is watching on the monitor is special. Elvis moves across the stage with the confidence of a man who has remembered what he was born to do. He talks to the audience between songs, not with the scripted banter of most Vegas performers, but with the genuine warmth of someone who is happy to be exactly where he is. When he sings, he does not simply perform songs, he interprets them, makes them personal, makes them immediate. Most importantly, he makes the audience forget they are in Las Vegas. For 2 hours, the International Hotel's showroom is not a sophisticated entertainment venue designed to separate tourists from their money. It is simply a room where music is happening, where a master performer is sharing his gift with people who understand how rare that gift truly is. "Mr. Shoofey," Jimmy Newman's voice comes through the intercom. "We have a situation downstairs." "What kind of situation?" "The waiting list has grown to over 1,500 people. They're offering us $500 per ticket for tomorrow night's show. Some of them are offering $1,000. Shoofey smiles for the first time in months. "Jimmy, I want you to call every major hotel on the Strip. Tell them Alex Shoofey wants to know if any of them have ever had 1,500 people offering $1,000 to see Frank Sinatra or Dean Martin. Yes, sir. And Mr. Shoofey? Yes? I owe you an apology. I thought you were crazy to book a rock and roll singer in Vegas. I was wrong. Shoofey turns back to the monitor, where Elvis is now performing Love Me Tender with an intimacy that makes the 2,000-seat showroom feel like a living room. Jimmy, we didn't book a rock and roll singer, we booked Elvis Presley. And it turns out that Elvis Presley can do anything. When Elvis finishes his 2-hour performance, the standing ovation lasts for 8 minutes. Industry executives who came to witness a failure instead witness the birth of the modern Las Vegas residency. Critics who expected to write obituaries instead write reviews that use words like transcendent and historic. Most importantly, Elvis Presley discovers that the magic never left. It was just waiting for the right stage, the right audience, the right moment to remind the world why kings stay kings. Over the next 4 weeks, Elvis will perform 56 sold-out shows at the International Hotel. Every performance will be filmed, recorded, and studied by entertainers who want to understand how to command an audience with nothing but talent and charisma. The residency will gross more money than any entertainment engagement in Las Vegas history and establish the template for every major residency that follows. But on this Thursday night in July 1969, all of that is still in the future. Tonight, Elvis Presley has simply proven that real kings can conquer any kingdom, even kingdoms they have never tried to rule before. Sometimes, the biggest risks produce the greatest rewards. Sometimes old rockers can teach new tricks to the most sophisticated audiences in the world. Sometimes a king just needs the right stage to remind everyone why they wear the crown.